What's poppin', everybody? It is Judahson for Put It Out There TV, also known as PIOT TV, hashtag Put It Out There. Just had a notification, some crazy stuff. Anyway, we'll ignore that. I hope all is well with everybody today. I wanted to get this story out to you earlier, but it has been a change of plans. I don't know if we want to even call this a story. I guess it's an update. Bear with me as I get my workstation together. It's been a little bit since we talked about this particular situation, which is the unfortunate situation that happened back in July, dealing with Isaiah Robinson, which is a brother who was shot and killed by the Elyria Police, July 2nd, 2019, I believe is the date that this took place. I guess what's being alleged is that they felt their lives were in danger, or he was supposed to be armed, or something along those lines. But you know what they usually say. But anyhow, with the shooting being involving the police, what they had to do was get an independent, and I wish you could see me because I'm doing quotations with the fingers, an independent, unbiased investigator. And that investigator is an investigator out of the Lorain County Sheriff's Department Corporation. And a lot of people in Isaiah Robinson's family and just people in general are wondering what's going on, what's taking so long for this investigation to come to a head, for them to make a final decision whether there should be any indictments or civil suits or whatever the case it may be. Because it seems like when it's the regular people, the civilians, if you will, you know, their decisions are already made. People are indicted. They're sitting in the county for a year, 2 years before they even get their court case. Whatever the case may be, when it comes to regular people, you know, they move right on ahead. It's not all this tedious investigating and tasking and things of this nature. So in my honest opinion, what I would say and what I've said before, is I believe that the investigation is biased, and there's a number of reasons for that. There's a number of reasons why I say that, and if you're interested in that, whenever you watch this video after it's been re-uploaded on our YouTube channel or Put It Out There TV, whatever, there should be a link in here that'll give you, that'll send you over to a video where we speak on how the investigation is possibly biased. All right. So again, this particular broadcast here is dealing with the report. So based out of this article that I have in my possession here, which was published by the Chronicle Telegram. Give me a second here. All right, and this was published on September 12th. It says here that the shooting remains under review. So I haven't even read this article. I've been sitting on this article since since the 12th. I've been sitting on this article. I haven't even read it yet. I wanted you guys to experience this with me as we talk about this. And this article was written by Dave O'Brien of the Chronicle Telegram. All right. So, goes on to say here, the Lorain County Prosecutor's Office is continuing to review a report by the Lorain County Sheriff's Office on the shooting of 2 men, one of whom died by 2 Elyria police officers in July. All right, so the review is done. All right, so the review is done, and it's been placed into the possession of the prosecutor. So now we know right now that, we're waiting for the prosecutor when it comes to this Isaiah Robinson case. Let's see what else we got here. It says Prosecutor Dennis Will said the report on the investigation completed by sheriff's detectives on the fatal shooting of Isaiah Robinson still is under review. I asked some other questions, he said Wednesday. Once those are answered, Will said he will ask investigators to go over the report with him. So it shows they're being very tedious on this particular task here. And see, what we have to understand is Dennis P. Wills is an elected official. So what we have to comprehend with situations like this is that politics always come into play. And they are specifically going to come into play when you have police shootings resulting in the deaths of so-called black men and women, right? Now, when it comes to that, we lose. We lose all the time. Man, they're being tedious. Let's go on. It says Elyria Police pulled over a car at the Marathon gas station at East Avenue and Fuller Road on July 2nd, suspecting it might have something to do with a shooting at an apartment on Park Meadow Lane that day. According to Elyria Police, one of the occupants pointed a weapon at officers and they fired their weapons in response. Robinson, 39, who owned the car, died of his injuries. Now, this is what has to be said before I go further. Now, I don't know if any of you are familiar, but there is a video floating around of the unfortunate shooting of Isaiah Robinson and Damon Battles. Damon Battles happened to survive. All right. Isaiah Robinson, from what I can see, what has been put together, is not the one who is being alleged to have pointed the guns at the police. All right. You got to think about this. Isaiah Robinson is not the one who is being alleged to have pointed the gun at the police. All right. With that being said, the only other person who could have allegedly pointed the gun at the police, if there was a gun pointed at the police, would have been Damon Battles, which is the one who you will see in the video who opened the back door. Isaiah Robinson was in the the passenger seat of his automobile. I don't like to use those terms unless we're speaking commercially, but just for common understanding. So Isaiah Robinson was in the passenger seat. The man who opened the back door was Damon Battles. So if anyone was to have allegedly pointed a gun at the Elyria police, it would have logically had to been Damon Battles. Now, my question is, if Damon Battles pointed the gun at the police, right? He didn't die from the shooting, went to the hospital, was able to leave freely. Where are the charges? See, this is why they're being tedious. And I would hope that the people out there are thinking and asking questions themselves, because these people are public servants. You are the masters. You must always remember that so you can keep them in place and keep them doing their jobs. It's reported that the reason why the police, the policy enforcers, opened fire on those men in that automobile is because one is alleged to have pointed a gun at the police. We know that Isaiah Robinson is not the one who pointed the gun at the police. He was in the passenger seat of the automobile. In the video, the door that opened showed Damon Battles getting out of the automobile. That's the only one, if there was a gun, who could have logically pointed a gun at the police. Where are his charges? Where are his criminal charges for pointing a firearm at the police? These are questions that you must have in your mind before this moves forward and comes to head, because in my honest opinion, I feel like there's games being played. There's games being played with this particular case. All right, let's go forward. It says, according to police, one of the occupants pointed a weapon at the officers and they fired their weapons in response. Robinson, 39, who owned the car, died of his injuries. The second man in the car, 39-year-old Damon Battles, was taken to University Hospital's Elyria Medical Center for treatment and later released. He has not been charged with any crimes. So again, this is why they have to play this game. Okay? We know for a fact that Isaiah Robinson is not the one who is alleged to have pointed a gun at the police. So why is there not a criminal charge? And I'm not saying there should be. I'm not saying I want to see Damon Battles in jail or in prison. But what I'm saying is to make this look a little bit more reasonable and to make sense to the people, Damon Battles would have to have a criminal charge of pointing that firearm at the police. Period. It doesn't make any sense. Where is the criminal charge for that? Okay, we go on. It says the incident was caught on video and sheriff's detectives were asked to make a report based on interviews with witnesses. Evidence collected at the scene in video and photographic evidence. Okay, it says here the incident was caught on video and sheriff's detectives were asked to make a report based on interviews with witnesses, evidence collected at the scene, and video and photographic evidence. Police have said a gun was found in the car. Elyria police officers Charles MacArthur and Alan Kubis were placed on paid administrative leave after the shooting per Elyria police policy, but have since returned to work. Elyria police do not yet have body-worn cameras, and the city has been considering purchasing them for several years. All right. So another thing I want y'all to comprehend. This is what I need you to comprehend. The local newspapers in your area, those are, yeah, right. He should have been charged for pointing the gun alone. And that's how you know there's something being played, a game being played. What you guys have to understand about the local newspapers in your areas is those newspapers are the newspapers for the courts. The Elyria Municipal Chronicle Telegram, that's the court's newspaper. All right. The Morning Journal, that's the Lorain Municipal Court's newspaper, because they always make sure that these articles are written in a way and worded specifically to where the benefit of the doubt is always given to the police. They can never be seen as making a mistake. They're always given the benefit of the doubt. So they always word these articles in a way to make it seem as if the police didn't do anything wrong. But I can tell you, first of all, there's a charge that we have right now that's available for the police. It's an Ohio Revised Code. It's called dereliction of duties. If you are a witness to a crime as a police and you do not enforce the law, there's a problem. So we also have charges that should be filed on the police, because you can't sit here and tell me this man has pointed a gun at you and you haven't filed any criminal charges. None whatsoever. You mean Dennis P? Let me tell you something. Based on Dennis P. Will's history here in so-called or in Elyria, Dennis P. Wills has dealt with Damon Battles a bunch in his time. OK, Dennis P. Wills has dealt with a bunch of people that we know personally all our lives a bunch of times. Let's not beat around the bush. Damon Battles has been going to prison his whole life. No disrespect. This is just a fact. He's been going to prison since he was a little boy. So you mean to tell me, after his several dealings with Dennis P. Will being bonded over from the municipal court to the court of common pleas, because that's what happens when you get the big charges, they send you to the municipal court. And then if they see that it's a liable charge, a viable charge, they bond you over to the court of common pleas. Dennis P. Wills has been in the court of common pleas for at least 15 years, 20, maybe 30. He's been there for a very long time. You mean to tell me that he didn't push for the criminal charges to have Damon Battles charged for criminally aiming a firearm at the police? There's a game being played, period. And see, this is why they like to keep people uneducated, and they like to use the media to mold the way that you think. This is why I wanted to throw this out there. The newspapers here are the newspapers that are for the benefit of the courts and the police. That's why you can barely believe anything that they say, because they're liars. I've went down here and done an interview with these people before. They've went down here and changed everything I said and made it go in a total different context. They're liars, and they will always write a story for the benefit of the courts and the police. That's what they do. That's what they do. They don't do real journalism down there. It's called yellow journalism. That's what it's called. They don't do real journalism. They always write something for the benefit of the courts and for the police to make people look bad. Just like now, all of a sudden, I go online and I search Isaiah Robinson, and all of a sudden now you can find more positive pictures about Isaiah Robinson. You see the other pictures they put out first to criminalize Isaiah Robinson. They put out mugshots. They put out mugshots while his Facebook profile was public and open to where you could have went and got some family photos of this man. See, you see what I mean? This is why you cannot trust the newspaper in your local areas, because they went and criminalized a man. They put an image of a criminal in your mind before this report is even out. So now people, specifically those of the Caucasian persuasion, are thinking, he deserved it. Maybe he didn't do this. Maybe because that's what's always said and done when it comes to us. See, I'm not that type of journalist. I don't do that type of journalism. I don't work for the courts. I don't work for the police. I'm going to say whatever the fuck that I want. And this is bullshit, I call it. This is bullshit. This damn review should have been done. Matter of fact, this review shouldn't have even been done by anybody in Lorain County, period. It shouldn't have been done by anybody. They should have had a federal investigation. This is why this is taking so long. Dennis P. Will is in a position of conflict of interest because he has to worry about being voted back in. Dennis P. Will hasn't said anything about retiring. Has he said anything about retiring? He hasn't. Dennis P. Wills has to get back in office. So he has to, satisfy his constituents. And if criminal charges are filed against these so-called white men, let's just keep it real, for killing a nigger. Because I'm going to say whatever the fuck I want. I don't work for none of these companies. They don't cut me a check. So I'm going to say whatever I want. When it comes to killing a nigger, you bet not dare put these good old white boys on trial. Look at his history. He has criminal history. You know what they do to diminish our value after they've murdered us. You know what they do. You know exactly what they do. That's why this is taking so long, because Dennis P. Wills has to find a way to play chess in order so there's a win-win situation. And the niggas always lose when there's a win-win situation. We always lose. They're playing. This investigation should have been done. Was Isaiah Robinson the one who pointed the gun out the car? That's a question that should be asked simply. No. Then who pointed the gun? And if there was a gun pointed and he ain't dead, where are the criminal charges at? Because there was never a gun pointed. No matter what you say about anybody that was in that automobile, those men were smart enough to know not to point a damn gun at the police so they end up dead. Come on now. That's the whole reason why they didn't want to get out in the first place, because they thought that they were going to be slaughtered. So either we can sit by while these public servants commit acts of fraud and crime while they're in office. We can sit by and not ask questions. We can sit by and may like we don't see what's going on, not saying anything. It's a problem. And you can best believe they're going to find a way to sweep this up under the rug, some shape, form, or fashion. And then in order to clean it up, guess what? Later on down the line, they're going to try to charge so they can clean their story up. You can best believe Damon Battles is probably going to end up getting this charge that I'm telling you that they should have placed on him if he actually did what they are claiming he did. Watch. No, of course not. Of course. But y'all watch. In order to clean this up, eventually they're going to have to charge Damon Battles criminally. That's the only way that this can fly. That's the only way. So y'all should be talking to your public servants and letting them know that you see the game that's being played. Period. And let them know that you see the game that's being played. Write them. Send them something. Something. Because I can see this. This is straight up game right here. This should have been done and over with. There should be charges filed already. There should be something on the docket for this. But that's just my opinion. That's just my commentary. I just want to make that clear. That's my opinion. That's my commentary. That's how I feel. But I would hope that others are able to put two and two together and see what I'm saying here. Right. Damon Battles, this is what I'm saying. With him having the criminal history that he has, he would have had, yeah, exactly. He would have had all those charges. It is so crazy. But I just wanted to throw that out there. Just put something on y'all minds real quick. Have y'all asking questions. Please like and share this. I appreciate Brother Mirandus Berger for going ahead and interacting with the comment. Like, share, and subscribe, y'all, because we have to get this information out here. Because if we're going to keep relying on the media that's in the local areas, again, I'm telling you, that is the media. That's the courthouse's media. That's the court's newspaper. Look at how they write their stories when it comes to you and yours. That's the police's in the court's newspaper. So show me some love, because I don't get paid from none of these people. I say fuck them. I'm going to call them out all day. Like, share, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm up out of here. Peace and love. Judahson, put it out there, TV 1.